Welcome back to Mishnah Online. Today we will be exploring the first three Mishnayot of the second parak of Masechet Rosh Hashanah. At the end of the first parak, we had a lengthy discussion of the halacha of Kiddush HaChodesh. And then the Mishnayot turned into a discussion of who is worthy to be witnesses. The Mishnah here tells us about different stages of when the Beit Din, the Sanhedrin, trusted people, and later on when they stopped trusting people, they had to make certain adjustments because people tried to mess up when Rosh Chodesh took place. So the Mishnah tells us, if Einan Makirim Oto, if the witness would come, and Beit Din would not recognize who they are, and they came from another city, Meshalchim Acher Imo Lahaido, they would send other people, other witnesses, to testify about their validity. Meaning that the Beit Din of the other city would send two witnesses to the Sanhedrin to say that these witnesses that are coming, or this witness that is coming, you could rest assured is trustworthy and you should accept him for Eidut HaChodesh. In fact, the Mishnah tells us, Barishona hayu mekablim Eidut HaChodesh mikol adam. Originally, everybody had what was called a chezkat kashrut. That means every Jewish person was trusted. And originally, any witness that would walk into the Beit Din, they would say, yes, welcome, and let's ask you questions, and let's accept you as witnesses for Kiddush HaChodesh. However, later on, Misha Kilkulu Haminim, when people who did not believe in Torah Sheba'al Peh, particularly the Minim refer to a group known as the Sedukim and the Baitusim, they did not believe in Torah Sheba'al Peh and the Chachamim. When they came in and they tried to mess up the witnesses or tried to send fake witnesses, the Beit Din, the Sanhedrin, made a rule that unless they knew the witnesses, they would not accept them for the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh. Mishnah Bet tells us a further concept in that. Originally, when they would declare Rosh Chodesh, what they would do is they would send out flame signals from mountain to mountain, something that Mishnah Gimel and Mishnah Dala describes at greater detail. But what happened? There was a group of people known as the Kutim, and they tried to mess up the signals and declare Rosh Chodesh on their schedule. There was a famous debate between the Kutim and the Sedukim and the Chachamim about the mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer. It says in the Torah that the mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer is Mimacharat HaShabbat, the day after Shabbat. Now, we know, Chazal interpret that to mean that it means the day after the first day of Yatav, the day that we rested from doing work. And therefore, we count Sfirat HaOmer on the second night of Pesach. However, the Kutim believed that it meant literally it should be Mimacharat HaShabbat, the day after Shabbat, meaning Sfirat HaOmer should always begin on a Motzei Shabbat. So what they tried to do in order to make it universal is they would try to create the situation that Beit Din would declare Rosh Chodesh Nisan on Shabbat in order so that Pesach would be on Shabbat and Motzei Shabbat would be the beginning of Sfirat HaOmer. So the Mishnah tells us, Misha Kilkulu HaKutim, so what would they try to do? They would try to send out fake flame signals, and they would try to mess up the flame signals. Once that started to happen, they stopped sending out the flame signals, and they would only send out messengers to let people know when Rosh Chodesh had taken place. That's Mishnah Bet. Mishnah Gimel describes the original process of how they used to send out the flame signals. This Mishnah describes what was the process of making the flame signals and how they would wave it in order to let people know. So the Mishnah tells us, how would they lift up the flame signals? So the Mishnah tells us, they would bring cedar trees. This is a picture of a cedar. Cedar trees, the Medrash tells us, was planted by Yaakov Avinu in Mitzrayim because he knew that when they built the Mishkan, when they come out of Mitzrayim in the future, they'll need cedar wood. In fact, the Aron Kodesh is made from cedar wood. So they would take poles, kunsos, or poles of eres, of long poles of cedar wood, vikanim, on little reeds, little branches, vatsei shemen, and olive wood, unurocho pishtan, and pieces of flax, vikorech b'mishicha, and they would tie it all together with a rope, v'oleh l'rosh hahar, and then they would go up to the top of the mountain, umatzit bahem et ha'or, and then they would light the fire, umolich umevi, and then they would lift up the flame signal by going back and forth, and then up and down. And they would continue to do this until the next mountain would see what they were doing. Till the next mountain would see what was taking place. And then once this next mountain saw what was taking place, then they would light their signals. And then when the third mountain would see what the second mountain did, then they would light their signals. And that's how it would pass the word about when Rosh Chodesh was declared through Eretz Yisrael. There's one other thing that we should be aware of in terms of the flame signals. Flame signals were only sent on day 30. Why? There are two possibilities when Rosh Chodesh, when the new month begins. Either it's on day 30 or it's on day 31. In the Jewish calendar, there's no such thing as a 31-day month. So therefore, if day 30 passes and there were no flame signals and Rosh Chodesh was not declared, automatically that meant the month was considered what's called malay. It was 30 days, and the 31st day would be the first day of the next month and would be declared Rosh Chodesh. For example, we had 2 days Rosh Chodesh Adar. We have 2 days Rosh Chodesh Adar. That means Shvat was a 30-day month. So in the month of Shvat this year, since it's 30 days, there would not be flame signals because it was 30 days. Automatically, Aleph of Adar would be day 31. So it was only used when the month was called Chaser, which meant it only had 29 days, as opposed to Malay, where automatically that day was declared on Rosh Chodesh. In Mishnah Dalet and Hey, the Mishnah describes where the flame signals went, and some of the other special things that were done for the witnesses that would declare Rosh Chodesh. Please stay tuned for the next couple of Mishnayot. That's all for now.